surprising that it's this advanced at the time of diagnosis. I am absolutely shocked that they didn't find this earlier.
If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you are saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's had this for many years, maybe even a decade, growing there and spreading.
All right, let's bring in Fox News chief political analyst Brit Hume and public health expert Dr. Stephen Quay. Doctor, I want to start with you. Your thoughts about this diagnosis today, what we're hearing about it, the aggressive nature of it, and how long the former president now may have had it.
Sure. Well, thanks, Brett. And of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family in this particular setting. But it has been correct, many of the folks that you've already had speak, that this has probably been at least a 5 to 7 year process. And I think it's important for people to know that it goes from the prostate to local expansion and only then to the bones in a rather slow process. So any kind of sort of medical care would have found this along the way.
And considering that he was getting presidential care, Doctor, I mean, it's really strange that we didn't know about this from PSA tests prior to this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would consider it malpractice if I was a White House physician not to test a PSA in a male U.S. president. I think there's another aspect here that might be interesting to talk about, is speculate about, which is the treatment for this kind of cancer, ADT as it's called, actually has as major side effects both falls. About 37% of men will have a fall within 12 months, as well as cognitive decline. And so I'm speculating that we may have been watching some of the side effects of treatment during his presidency.
Britt, a lot of warm wishes from both sides of the aisle, wishing the former president well. But it comes after this weekend of revelations on Friday with the Her tapes coming out, the audio tapes of his testimony, and obviously the book and all the revelations there.
Exactly, Brad.
Yes, that's
I think
right.
everyone shares in the good wishes for the president's possible recovery. Cancer treatment has advanced a lot, as I'm sure you know, and so there's real hope there. But if this announcement at this time, if it were hoped that this was going to begin to put the fire out on all of this renewed controversy over the president's mental acuity while he was president and during the campaign, I think it has not done that because people are skeptical of why this is coming out at this time. And the questions continue to arise. And now there's even the possibility that if they knew he had this and he were being treated for it, as the doctor just said, one of the possible symptoms of that is falling down, which he certainly did several times. We remember it so vividly when he fell going up the stairs to Air Force One and at other times. But, another part of this, I think, Brett, that has to be commented on is this. I think the White House and the inner circle around Biden and Democrats in Congress and elsewhere were trying to hide something with Biden that could not be hidden, and the polling showed that all through the latter years of his presidency and during the campaign, that distinct majorities of Americans thought he was no longer fit to be president. Democrats wanted a different nominee, and so on, and so this was visible to the public. But the media who were there seeing him, we saw him day in and day out. We watched the videotape. We saw him at public events and so forth. If the public could see this clearly the news media should have seen it as well and did not do so. We covered it here at Fox News. I started talking about this back in 2019. But
on this
most
show.
of the rest of the media ignored it on this very show. That's right. So I think that the dereliction in the media on this is a stain that will not be easily erased.
I want to go back to the prostate cancer, Doctor. Just the metastatic on the bone and a Gleason score of 9 for people who don't talk this language. What does all that mean?
Well, it's pretty aggressive. It's pretty late stage and it's pretty aggressive. But I think the good news is that with this modern therapy of ADT, you can buy 2 to 3 years of a pretty high quality of life before, the Darwin evolution takes over. The cancer begins to no longer be sensitive to that treatment. You're then kind of in a chemotherapy space. But this is manageable. It's going to be a little bit of an effect on his quality of life, but it's really good that we can offer him this treatment at this stage.
Mm-hmm. And finally, Britt, the politics of this moment, as to your last point, Van Jones was on CNN, and here's what he said: long-term impact. This is before the prognosis of the diagnosis of the prostate cancer.
This is the emperor's new clothes playing itself out in real time. There are people who knew and said nothing, and that is a crime against this republic. And I think the Democrats are going to pay for a long time for being a part of what is now being revealed to be a massive cover-up.
I mean, do you think the impacts politically are real?
Yeah, I think they're very real, and I think there are a lot of Democrats have a lot to answer for, because they were trying to cover up something that, as I said before, trying to hide something that was unhideable. So there's a whole generation of Democratic politicians who have to answer for this, who are all going around saying, now, gee, I never knew. Jake Tapper of the media is saying that. Jake, his national security advisor, was saying that
Jake Sullivan.
He doesn't know anything about this. Jake Sullivan, he never noticed it somehow. Baloney. They all knew. They had to know. It was visible to the public, and they tried to cover it up. They failed. How they get the stain out, both of the Democrats who covered this, who refused to acknowledge this, and just as bad, if not worse, the members of the media who refused. I don't know how they'll ever get rid of it.
Yeah. Britt, Dr. Quay, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.